Now, a very special part of the show where I sit down and actually have to really pay attention. I am very excited to have this young lady on the show tonight. She is a Democratic candidate for the state of Illinois' Office of the Comptroller, and I will get to the bottom of that. She's also the City Clerk of Chicago. Will you please welcome Susana Mendoza to the stage? Down, I realized too when I was introducing, like, this is weird. It's like, yeah, come on out. I can move forward. This thing has wheels. It's not a problem. It's very mobile. Susanna, how was your day? Did you have what was anything? What was your day like? Walk me through today. What was it like? Oh, that's a nice hat. Oh, is that someone wrote all over your hat? That's no good.
Yeah, it's kind of a bummer, right?
Yeah.
But the whole Cubs team did.
They won the World Series, you know.
Yeah, I heard.
Yeah.
I heard. It was pretty awesome.
It's a big parade and everything. Anyone have to go downtown today?
Not to work, though.
Right. Yeah, you're not going to get anything done.
You
down
lose
there.
points today if you actually showed up for work. You know what I mean? Seriously, it's like mega nerd points.
Why don't you just wear a White Sox hat? Am I right?
Hey. I like the White Sox.
I'm sorry.
I do.
Well,
White Sox fan.
I mean, hey, let's get down to business here. You're running for office,
I am.
and I talked you into this.
Every vote counts.
Then I better register. No, I'm just kidding. No. Our last episode was all about getting registered to vote. It's not about who you vote for. It's about having your voice heard.
But voting for me, too.
Right. So let's go back a ways just to give people a little background. You worked as a state representative.
I did.
What was it like?
It was awesome.
Yeah?
Yeah, back in those days, it seems like, I sound like an old person. But back in those days, people actually got along. Even if you were a Democrat with the Republicans, you'd go out for dinner, hang out with your friends. I mean, maybe you didn't agree with like 90% of the ideology, but it was still cool that you could hang out, get to know people, and then get stuff done. You just don't see that happening today anymore.
Why?
Everybody chase each other.
Why not? I mean, what did anything happen specifically that you can speak to? That, I mean, what was it? Was it me?
It wasn't
No. All right, I wanted to take a little credit for something. I mean, I moved here 10 years ago, and it seems like not a lot of stuff. But you were a state representative. You passed bills. You worked. You actually was that when you spearheaded the movement to about Rod Blagojevich?
Yeah, so I was a youngster when I got involved. I ran for office the first time when I was only 25 years old. Yep, for state representative. And I took on like the speaker's incumbent, It was not
Mike
easy.
Madigan's.
Yeah, not easy
Mike
thing
Madigan's
to do.
incumbent.
Exactly. Well, no, I didn't run against him, but I ran against the person that he supported.
Right.
Yes, and I lost by a whopping 55 votes. Yeah.
That's about this much.
That was like getting to Game 7 and losing. Yeah.
Hi, Cleveland.
Not fun. But then I ran again 2 years later, and I won with 55% of the vote.
55%. So, and you did your time as your state rep,
10 years.
and
Yep.
you came out of there.
And then I became the first woman ever elected to the office of the state clerk. I totally just had an epiphany. So, we're gonna veer off.
Come on. It's an organic conversation.
So get this, all kidding aside, I used to say this all the time when I was describing the city sticker. All you guys probably have a city sticker, right? If not, I know where you live. I have a list of every person that's in this audience. No, but nobody likes to pay this tax, but this wheel tax as such that we give you a city sticker for is really like the receipt that you're in compliance with this wheel tax. But this tax has existed, wait for it, since 1908.
Hey! Isn't that the same year?
You know that year,
The
1908.
Cubs won the World Series.
Yeah, and I used to tell people that was a long time ago, folks, but now I can't really say that because we just won it. But 1908, first year that the city sticker existed, the wheel tax. And back then, it was literally horses and buggies.
Right, I was going to say,
yeah,
no cars.
A handful of like Ford Model Ts that had just come on the road.
Okay.
And people probably used to like just saunter on down to like say hi to their neighbor or something. I don't know. But fast forward 105 years, which is when I took office.
Yes.
In 2011. And people would wait, no joke, 2.5 to 3 hours long in line at City Hall to pay this tax. It was like the line would wrap around inside 107, which is the main floor, out the door on the Washington side, and even outside onto Washington Street.
Out of City Hall, out onto Washington.
2.5, 3 hours long. So it's not like you could take your lunch break, because no way, you had to take your day.
Yeah,
so
that would take too long.
And people, legitimately, they would have to take a day off of work or lose, like,
to get a city
vacation
sticker.
day to go pay tax.
To pay tax. Yeah.
So my theory was, if that's what we do, because it brings in like $100 million. The year that I took office, about $100 million in revenue, which all goes towards street repairs and stuff like that. But in any event, if we have to be responsible for doing it, I thought, well, we should just make it as easy as possible for people to be able to be in compliance with the law.
What a concept.
Rocket
Yeah.
science.
Wow.
So now you will all know that you can get a 1 year or a 2 year sticker. We do it throughout the entire year. 1.3 million people all renew it in the month of June for 105 years, right? So we changed that. We got the city onto a year-round system. I did it with 10% less payroll than when I started. I've come in under budget every single year that I've been clerk as a Democrat. I've reduced my overtime, which is really your tax money, by over 70%. We got rid of the lines. They're 5 to 10 minutes long if you procrastinate. And we've generated, just last week I announced, over $70 million in new revenue without increasing the price of the stickers. So,
new revenue. $70 million, a lot of that money going towards Becoming a Man Band, which is a great program doing great work.
$15 million this year.
Not bad.
But you know what else is cool?
Please.
So I've only been in office for 5 years. Hey, how long has Steele Epstein been there? Right? I'm just saying, like, you rebuild the Cubs program in 5 years. 1908, we have year-round city stickers now.
You streamlined the office. You made it more efficient. I know this. I've been through City Hall and I've been through the city clerk's office, and there are all these dividers for all these people. There's never people in the dividers because it takes no time at all to get through and get your business done. So that's good. And speaking of revenue, boy, things are tied up right now. It's kind of rough. We've talked a lot about the budget in the state of Illinois on the show. We've had people on to talk about it because I don't know. But it seems like we just, you said it. I mean, we just don't have it. So how does the role of Comptroller play into the fact that we don't have a budget right now?
Yeah, so I have these commercials out right now that say, can you even say Comptroller, right? But most importantly, it's the most important job that most people have never heard of. And it is super important because it controls the state's checkbook. And normally when times are good, no one's thinking of the controller, but if you can imagine the fiscal crisis that we're all going through, you don't have to imagine it because we're living it. And to have that be the case and have a position that has to prioritize the most vulnerable, that really becomes super important, who the person is that's in that office and how they're going to prioritize the very little bit of money that is actually left after the court-ordered, mandated payments are already made. So like 90% of the state's budget is being paid by default because there's court orders that mandate it and so forth. But that 10% that isn't court mandated, we have to figure out how we're going to prioritize it. And so you really want a comptroller who's going to be an independent fiscal watchdog. I would say a truth-telling fiscal watchdog, but somebody who's willing to stand up to Governor Rauner when he's standing on top of people, and someone who isn't bought and paid for, or a wholly owned subsidiary of the governor. And that's certainly...
On a totally unrelated note, you're running against Leslie Munger. Just gonna pivot. We're gonna pivot there. She was not elected to the office of Comptroller. She was appointed by Governor Rauner. That's, got it. I get it. But she contests this idea that we need to have a better moral compass in the Office of Comptroller. She actually says, hey, these departments of the city, of the state of Illinois, I mean, this is a lot. They send me bills, they're like, hey, we gotta pay this bill.
Voucher.
And it's, there's a word for it. They send you the voucher, and they say, we need this much money. And she goes, look, I don't know what they need this money for, and there's no way for me to know what this money is for. So I just sign it, sign the check and you send it back.
That's right.
So, I mean, what does a moral compass have to do if you don't even know what they're spending all this money on?
Yeah, well, I would say that's right how she explains it, but it's wrong what she's doing, right? Because at the end of the day, the comptroller's job, it's basically like a big accountant, and your job is to know who you're paying, what you're paying, and why you're paying it. And also, very importantly, who you're not paying and why you're not paying. So, you know, just recently I made a big deal out of the fact that on 2 separate occasions now, over the last year, since last August, the comptroller has released now over $7 million in performance bonuses to IDOT employees and state workers per the direction of Governor Rauner. At the exact same time that she's telling social service providers like domestic violence shelters or, you know, care providers for children with autism and stuff like that, that there's no money, right? There's no money for you, but here's a performance bonus right in the middle of an election cycle, right? So when I called her out on it, she said, well, you just must not understand how the Office of the Comptroller works because, you know, you're not there, and that's just not the job. I get the vouchers, and I just pay them as they come in. I can't tell if it's a bonus payment or it's not a bonus payment. So, look, it's either she's claiming ignorance, which should be alarming to anybody who's in the office, or she is legitimately just doing the governor's bidding, which would be my guess. So, that's easy to do.
We're not partisan here. We're not partisan, so I have to push back on that, Susana, okay? I have to say, you know, I don't think this lockstep with the governor thing holds any water because there's no way to connect the governor and, we're getting some laughs and I wasn't going for it. But how do you connect the fact that the governor's bidding is being done by Leslie Munger? It's a completely independent office. You said yourself it is a watchdog for other high-level legislators. I mean, what evidence do you have, if any?
So, you probably didn't read it, obviously, but maybe some of your audience members did. Over the last month, my opponent has received almost $10 million from only 3 people. 2 of them are Governor Rauner's, you know, 2 best pals, 2 billionaires.
They go golfing together.
Yeah, they hang out, you know.
Cool.
And then the other one is Governor Rauner himself. Now, so here's the deal. So check it out. $2 million directly from the person that office by Constitution is supposed to serve as a checks and balance to.
The governor, out of his own pocket, gave $2 million. $2 million.
So one was like 3 weeks ago, he gave her $1 million, and that's like when I just said, look, I didn't even critique her for like taking $5 million in one day from 2 billionaires. I mean, it's a ton of dough, but and obviously you can connect the dots without being a rocket scientist, but you know, we'll give her plausible deniability. But then when the governor actually wrote her a check for $1 million and she took it, I don't think I'm running against Leslie Munger anymore. I'm running against Governor Rauner because he's the comptroller. He bought the office, she sold it. And he likes to talk about how, or the media, you know, they frame this thing as like a proxy between Governor Rauner and Mike Madigan.
Like me, I'm the media.
Yeah, that's you.
I am the media.
I tell them this. Look, like, first of all, when they dropped $5 million on my opponent that first day, I went home and I told my husband, honey, did you hear what happened today? And he's like, no, what? And I go, you didn't? I go, 2 of the richest men in the country just dropped $5 million against your wife, right? They just gave Leslie $5 million in one day, like in a minute. And he's like, oh, his eyes bugged out. And I go, I'm flattered.
Yes! We're not partisan.
Not at all. I was just like, who knew that the governor and his 2 billionaire buddies were so scared of a little 5'3" Mexican from Chicago?
tough, but you're a little low key. I don't know if you have the charisma to do that. I just don't know. But Susana, so I mean, that's 2 million and then 5 million.
And then another 3 million. I'm losing track now, but
so she's got a lot of millions staked in this
and then
race.
she like forked 3 million over to the Republican Party. Like she got 5 million in one day, and then she laundered 3 million to the Republicans legally. You know, she claims, but she's a quick learner in how to use all these loopholes.
She must have read a book or something about how to comptroll. But my question is, this must be how these comptroller races go, right? I mean, people funnel a ton of money into this race because it's a super important office that has a ton of responsibility. It must happen all the time, right?
Yeah, it's unprecedented. Yeah.
Oh, it's unprecedented.
Yeah.
Oh,
like,
okay.
As in, like, never happened.
Okay.
Yeah, never happened. That's what that means. Never. Yeah, so like, just to put it in perspective, so you guys remember the last race? You probably voted. You might have voted.
I vote every day.
It was Sheila Simon versus Judy Bar-Topinka, right?
Yes, Judy Bar-Topinka used to be comptroller before
right.
Leslie Munger took over.
So she ran against Sheila Simon Judy ran for re-election. She got elected, but combined both the Democrat and the Republican candidate in like a head-to-head, big, important statewide race. Combined, they spent a little over $2 million. Right, and my opponent
those two candidates running against each other.
Total.
2 million.
And Leslie has received, I would say just Rauner Jr. has received $10 million. Wow. In like the last month and a half from 3 people, right? Put it in perspective. So it is what it is.
It's, hey, what else would it be? So she has accused you, because I saw on a great program called Chicago Tonight on PBS, which everyone should watch. All right. Not bad. That's pretty good. Phil Ponce, call me, bro. We'll have you on. But she accused you on that show in the same way that you can prove that she took directly money from Governor Rauner, that you are directly taking money from Mike Madigan. And while, you know, we are not partisan, you know, it looks bad for the Democrats. You're directly taking money from Mike Madigan. You mentioned the proxy war that's being thrown around in the press all the time. So that's problematic, is it not?
No, because unlike her, who did take money directly from Governor Rauner, and by the way, she took money from the Illinois GOP, so that's where she says, well, I'm taking money from Mike Madigan because I'm accepting money from the Illinois Democratic Party.
That's conflation there, because Mike Madigan
exactly.
controls that money.
So he controls that account.
But it's
money,
not his.
But it's not his personal money. So that account, he's the chairman of the entire Democratic Party of the state of Illinois. And as such, he's in charge of that account. But he has other multiple accounts. That Democratic Party of Illinois gets contributions from thousands of people who believe in democratic values, and they contribute to that account. And as the Democratic nominee for the state, it's logical that the party's going to support me. But I haven't received money directly from the speaker himself, and he doesn't personally contribute to that account. It's not his piggy bank. Unlike the Illinois GOP, that out of $20.9 million that they had in their account, the last time I had checked, 20.2 million was direct contributions from Governor Rauner. So it's like he is the Illinois GOP. So there's a difference. There's a big difference. And you know, like the other day, it was like trick or treat, right? Did you guys go trick or treating?
Yeah. What'd you do for Halloween?
I went trick or treating with my 4-year-old. But while
I was gonna say,
while
you're
I
a
was
little
out
old.
trick or treating with little David, she was out trick or treating with Big Bruce, and he gave her like a $1 million treat. It's crazy.
At one house, which is a serious haul. That's like 10 full-size $100,000. Not partisan.
And you can multiply. That's like more than the comptroller can do.
Can't spell unprecedented, but I can multiply. You know, so what now? We should vote, probably.
Please, get out there, vote, spread the word.
Voting, yeah, that's
Yeah.
it, that's the thing.
Because, you know, like, they have lots of money, so they've spent, like, just millions. It's unprecedented. Like I said, you probably see more ads. I just told my mom to turn off the TV, but like basically with 10 million bucks, you can make Mother Teresa look like Kim Kardashian, right? So this is what I'm up against. And I'm certainly not Mother Teresa by any means. She's a saint, and I probably shouldn't have even said that. But here's the thing. Like, it's crazy. This is like what has become Illinois politics, where you have one person who is literally trying to buy every single legislative seat. Who is trying to destroy hardworking men and women across the state of Illinois. So like, that's not funny, it's the truth. Who has like done things like cut autism funding on World Autism Day and Good Friday to top it off. And like the comptroller that we have there now has just been silent when he does these things. A guy who on Women's Equality Day decides to veto child care subsidies to working mothers who make a little over $10,000 a year. That's 20 hours of minimum wage a week. Like, he's saying they make too much money if they make over $10,000 a year to qualify for child care subsidies, right? It's like morally corrupt. It's fiscally unsound. It takes moms off of the fact that they were being taxpayers, even at a small amount, and makes them tax users. It disinvests in children at the earliest and most important years of investing in them.
I mean, other than that, it's not.
Right, I know. So that's just like to get me started. But like when I say I want to run and be a fiscal watchdog and a truth-telling one, that's what I'm talking about. Is actually calling out these things when they're happening and not just standing by silently as they happen.
That's the thing. And that brings me to what we're saying about what's happening and about who is making it happen, and now what they are saying about you. And they're saying that you are a shill. They say that you report to Mike Madigan. I don't know if you guys watch television, but if you do, you have seen the picture of the one time Susana Mendoza stood next to Mike Madigan at a St. Patrick's Day parade. It is literally, I mean, the picture's getting worn out on television. It's sad. You should send them another one and be nice. But what they're saying about you is that you're beholden to Mike Madigan's interests. You're beholden to Rahm Emanuel's interests. How do you contend that?
Well, obviously facts matter, and like I said, I got elected by running. They should matter. I got elected by running against the speaker, not once but twice.
That was your first state rep race.
And my second one, yeah. And then I stood up to Governor Blagojevich before it was popular to, and then I led the impeachment efforts against him. And then I got elected city clerk and stood up to Rahm Emanuel when he tried to increase the price of the city sticker like by a lot. And that was a brutal fight. My first year in office when he was at the height of his popularity. So like, look, I can stand up to the most powerful guys in their most powerful moments, but still get beyond that and work with them when it's important to do so to move the ball forward. And that's what governing is all about. They learn to respect me, right? So this whole proxy thing is what you guys read about and hear about. Proxy fight between Madigan and Rauner. First of all, it discounts the fact that unlike my opponent who lost her race, first step race, and then for state rep, and then got promoted to one of the highest offices in the state with zero experience, I've had to go before voters on 9 separate occasions. The first time I lost, but 8 times after that I was elected. Nobody put me there. I earned everything I've ever achieved. Yep. And so it's not even fair to like say this is about these 2 big guys. Because at the end of the day, when I beat Governor Rauner on November 8th, he won't be able to hide behind this story that he got beat by this powerful Irish outsider from, Chicago called Mike Madigan. I'm going to make him own the fact that he lost a little 5'3" Mexican woman from Chicago.
I cannot wait. Please, if you see him, just let him know we'd love to have him on. I know he he would. I'll pitch underhand to him. I don't know. Real quick, I mean, we have to wrap up. It has been lovely to have you. Have you seen any of the attack ads that are out there? I mean, I don't know. Yeah, watching television, we see a lot of mudslung. But I mean, how do you feel about all this?
The ones against me or about who?
How about you?
Oh, there's plenty. Yeah, they had one where I was like a superhero. I don't know if you guys saw that one, but everybody thought it was a positive for me. So I think it's not airing anymore. It's not airing anymore. I did look pretty cool in that one though, and they've got a new one out that calls me a double dipper, which I've never double dipped in my life, and they know it, but they still like just lie through their teeth. But again, that's what you could do with $10 million. But get this, right? So they have this new commercial with this double dipping thing, and they are double dipping into guacamole, right? With so, I don't know, like figure how that one's work. But
interesting choice.
Why don't you have guacamole here for me? I'm Mexican, of course. You should add guacamole.
That's
right?
somewhat presumptuous. I just met you tonight, and I just thought, hey, how about some guacamole? You're Mexican. Not a great first introduction.
Well, they must have thought I like it because they really double dipped into the guacamole.
Yeah. Well, I think they double dipped into a big mistake messing with you. It has been great talking with you, and I hope maybe in a few months we can have you back on when you win. Yeah. Susana Mendoza! It's a good bit. It was her idea. It's a good bit. And now, I'm going to stall for time. You may have noticed Susana Mendoza is running for Comptroller. She has a few of her campaign materials by the door. I'd like to emphasize once more that we're not partisan, but we do love a good idea when we hear it. And sometimes it's just tough to tell the difference between the two. So read up on her and check her out. Is that the signal?
No, sorry.
Nope, not the signal. If you haven't taken a picture with the hashtag best evening ever during that interview, well, I did. Even I had time to do it, and it was probably a little rude, but I